Everyone, this is Bob. I am just reaching out to let everyone know that the contest for the Q&A giveaway is officially closed. I will be working with everyone to produce and record the Q&A episode and figure out what we're going to be doing for the drawing. So stay tuned for that in a couple of weeks when we release the Q&A, as long as everything stays on schedule here. I have started looking over the questions. Everything looks real good, so I'm excited for it, and I will see you then. For now, I will release you back to the normal episode. Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer. I'm joined today by Todd, portraying Astro Jamin.
Yo!
Charles, portraying Evelene Bolick.
Hi.
Jeremy, portraying Dyne Starseeker.
Hello.
And Jay, portraying Steve Starling.
Happy 100th episode.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Woohoo!
100.
Oh, yeah.
You can find Lancer on itch.io. Previously, the DBC crew found an opening to find out more about Project Rebirth. The LIT clinic in commercial module 40 was under attack by Oath rebels. By entering under the pretense of providing aid, our pilots gained access to this otherwise tricky piece of the Corpo's infrastructure. What they found so far reads as the aftermath of a doomed incursion turned bloodbath. The remains of disassembled Oath rebels, curious signs of one-sided battle, and the complete shift in the facility's appearance once they step beyond its public facade. We return as our pilots push deeper into this facility, hoping to find valuable data for Ethic without blowing their cover. Well, like Jay said, welcome to the 100th episode, pilots!
Woohoo!
Woo! How have we survived this long?
How have people listened to it this long?
Yeah, actually, good question.
You could all die today. Ha
Yeah.
ha!
Make it an episode to remember.
yeah.
All right, Evelyn, you charge in first, okay? I'll stay far back.
All right.
In fact, let me go get Artemis.
Yeah,
In all
I'll
fairness,
go.
that is what we usually do.
Yeah.
So what's different about this episode?
Yeah, nothing.
All right, so right when we left off, you all, let me just double check my floor structuring. If you'll remember, the LIT clinic was a rather imposing building. Somewhere between 10 to 15 floors, depending on how big the floors are, what you judged from the outside before you entered. You skipped the first few floors by going up a fire escape, which, as turns out, didn't really matter to begin with, because those first few floors are all the public facade. You kind of broke your way in, found your way to a, corporate office that gave you keycard access to go further up in the facility. You went through an operations theater that was floor 4. And then floors 5 through 7 were kind of like an open hangar structure with support rooms built around the side in kind of like an ascending kind of combed fashion with like a large central area for large ships to be docked in. As you made your way up, the signs of battle and detritus have been apparent here and there as you made your way through the facility, culminating in the end of last episode. You actually had a little bit of a scrap against some stragglers from the Oath incursion. You fought your way through them, and one of them actually was willing to surrender to you all. Gave you a little bit of info. He didn't know much, but gave you some information on what they've been dealing with since they entered the facility and kind of what's been going on. Taking pity on him, you provided him his power core back to get his armor working, and he was able to get out of here with that. And as he leaves and you all look at going up the stairway to floor 8, we ended the previous episode. So that is where we're dropping back in on you right now. What kind of headspace is everyone in?
God,
I,
everything
like the
hurts.
previous rebels, do not want to continue forward. This sounds spooky.
Yeah, a scared headspace, to be sure.
I mean, I'm just in pain. I mean, I know Dyne patched me up, but I'm like, maybe I'm getting too old for this.
This just
You
was
got
not
shot.
this is not what
That would do it.
Astro was expecting, right? He came in thinking, we're gonna go under the cover of assisting, the security here at LIT against the rebel incursion. Maybe we'd meet up with them and come up with some story. But so far, we haven't seen anyone from the LIT side, and just some evidence of some weird monster that's been wreaking havoc. So, wasn't at all what Asher was expecting. He's a little perturbed, I would say.
Dyne's gonna look over at Astro and go, is there anything new on the Rebels link that you have?
Last time I listened in, I didn't get much, only that they were talking about being hunted, by something. They're not in great shape. I know they have some sort of target, but I'm not clear on what it is. I'll listen in again to see if anything's changed, but I don't expect much.
Yeah, you open the listening channel of the communication device to see if there is anything happening as of the moment. There is no active communication taking place right now. You didn't hear any specific calls over it. I think you've been kind of passively monitoring it over this time as well. You haven't heard any specific call outs. You don't know if they have a specific protocol for when they communicate about things or anything like that. But you have not picked up anything last session, at least.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just say it's all quiet for now.
Just ask over the link, is anyone still alive?
That's a very good question. Well, let's advance carefully, but if things get a little too out of hand, I think maybe we should get out of here. Perhaps just what we've seen so far is enough information to be giving Ethic.
I mean, we still have to pretend we're doing something here. What do we report back officially?
Well, we still know there's another team of rebels up ahead of us. Let's see if we can catch up to them.
All right, well, let's move cautiously. We're technically in an area that we shouldn't be, so...
Yes. But we're, cover story still holds. We're here because we're trying to repel the rebels here.
Yep.
Where we were, was there another staircase going up?
That is where they were camped out. The
thought,
rebels you encountered were kind of on this floor, but kind of camped out in front of the stairway leading further up.
Okay. Astro will start heading up the stairwell to the next floor.
As you head up to floor 8, it's one of those stairways that goes up to a landing, wraps around and comes back into the main facility. You can kind of tell that the stairway was leading out of the building. You have an ongoing map that is being provided to you by Jessica, who's kind of mapping your course. You don't have maps for these levels of the facility going up from here. Mm-hmm. But she is able to just put into context for you where the room you're in is in relation to the other rooms you've been in previously and stuff like that. So as you go up, you can see how it was getting towards the edge of the building and you're wrapping back around to go towards the middle of the building. So you're now ascending to a floor that is above the big open hangar area you were in before. as you get to the top of the stairwell, you will see that there is no there's no doorway leading like from the stairwell to the floor. You've become used to a pattern where in this facility, when you get to the top of the staircase, there's a door right at the top of the staircase that opens onto the floor you're going into. That is not the way this one works. When you get to the top of this staircase, you kind of exit into a room. I wouldn't call it a waiting room, but it is sort of a transitory room. This isn't a room anyone like stays in for a long period of time. There's no like chairs or anything. It's just like a big room that has a door that goes forward and then 2 doors to either side. So basically you rise up a staircase into a little room that's a little bit longer than it is wide. So the door in front of you is a little bit further away, and then you have a door to your left and a door to your right. I will say, as immediately when you get up here, the door that is directly in front of you is really screwed up. Like, it is like dented and folded and like bunched onto itself in a way that is hard to tell what happened to it without doing further investigation.
Can we assume some sort of mechanical monstrosity had ripped it open?
Make a pilot check to see what you can determine about it. Anyone can do this.
Can I do a spot check? Seems like
absolutely.
Since it's like a quick thing.
I'll do investigate.
4.
I'll do a charm check since I'm good at charming doors.
Doors specifically, yeah.
21 on mine.
Okay.
14 on my charm for those.
Unfortunately, this was a dangerous check, and the door hurts your feelings, letting you down very hard.
Gosh.
Yeah.
There you say that
However,
about my hair.
However, Steve is standing in front of you when you wink at the door, and he thinks you wink at him. So it's still a successful check.
Yeah, it's still a successful check. Someone, you know.
Seems like, oh my.
Dyne, So Dyne, you look at the door, and this is a spot check. So all you really get is like, yeah, that's a fucked up door, right? Like, you look at it, nothing important comes out of that. Steve, who takes a little bit more time, goes up, you examine the door, and you get a sense that the door was almost crushed close. So imagine the door was already closed. Like, it's a double sliding door. So a door slides in from the left and a door slides in from the right, and they meet each other in the center, right? That's the kind of door this is.
Sure.
Judging from what you can tell from this side, it's like something from the other side of the door reached like into the center of the door and crushed and twisted it in such a way that he like twisted the 2 doors together around itself. There's actually like a knot of metal at the center of these 2 doors that's just a bunch of broken and bent and twisted metal wrapped around each other that is made up from little bits of both doors. So in the middle, it's like something grabbed the middle of both doors and then twisted it shut.
Intentionally so, I assume.
It looks intentionally so, and because you succeeded in your investigate check, this is something that like your hard suits are not this strong.
I was going to ask. Okay,
this is something that like a mech could do. This is not something like even a power-assisted hard suit could do easily. It's like someone molded the metal of this door like it was Play-Doh.
So basically that means this door is like locked in a way.
It is almost like it is fused shut. You would have to get like a torch out and cut through this knot of metal to open this door again.
I don't suppose anyone has a welding torch on them.
I left mine at the ship.
You said like a mech could do it, but like it's like a smaller door, so it'd have to be like a really small mech to do that, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, how would one even fit in here?
Yeah, like realistically, a mech couldn't do that to the door because it's
something
fine
that has
detail.
like the strength of a mech.
Yeah,
right. It's honestly perplexing.
Yeah,
it almost sounds like a power suit from Fallout, kind of.
Yeah. What about?
Yeah, I'll point out what I learned, by the way, and just finish with like whatever that monstrosity they're talking about didn't seem to want people in that room.
That means we need to get into that room.
Probably. Maybe there's a way around through the other doors.
I'm guessing not, but we can check the other doors.
Worth a shot. I mean, we can. Just
Did
poke our
anyone
head
bring
in.
explosives?
Yeah, I have some frag grenades, but I don't know if that's going to blow up this door.
Yeah, maybe not. Let's keep that in our back pocket, though. And Astro will go to the door on the left and open it.
All right. I just wanted to check one thing here real quick.
Congratulations,
okay,
Astro.
You have
found
one
it.
frag grenade left, Kestrel.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah, I thought I remembered you using them, but I couldn't remember how many you used. I think you have one left.
Yeah, just the one. Yeah, I said grenades as like, I brought grenades, but I
Generally.
have a grenade, yes.
Yeah, totally. Makes sense.
I have one grenade as well, but I don't.
Oh, cool.
Dyne doesn't think it's going to work on that door either. It's not
right.
armor-piercing
This
damage.
is my own fault for not bringing thermite. Everywhere I go, thermite.
Yeah.
Going to the park, thermite.
We talked about this in a previous episode, but it's like, you guys know that like normally you aren't walking around in your hard suit, or people think you're invading. Like they look a little bit too bulky to be like everyday wear. So, but yeah, for this, it would make sense, but otherwise.
I'm pissed because, as a quick aside, I've been playing Titanfall 2 again, and one of the mech loadouts is that thermite grenade launcher. You know, the crime against the Geneva Convention.
Such a good game.
Wish I had that here.
Make that happen.
All right. So you head to the left door. Comet, as you approach the left door, it is not even locked. It is oddly, there is like a little panel next to the door that you are used to at this point needing to do something to like open it with, but you don't have a chance to, because as you approach the door automatically opens as you get within 3 feet of it.
It's like almost disappointing, right? Like it's too easy.
Ready to hack it wide open. All right, I'll stroll in.
Okay. As you come into this room, you look around, and it actually terminates very quickly. It is a single room with no other exits, but it does extend to your right. So it does extend down the path a little bit of the door you could not enter. It is longer in that direction than it is in other directions. So you kind of come in at the end of this room, and there's more room that way to explore. To your right as you come in. This room is filled with what appears to be monitoring equipment. There are screens and chairs. And based on what you see when you come in this room, it appears that this door should have been locked. You turn around and you look at the wall behind you as you enter, and you realize that the panel on this side of the door is displaying some weird code.
Huh. Let's take a closer look at that.
All right, make me a pilot check.
Let me think. I'm going to say I don't think this is hacker fix, because I'm just trying to make sense of some code.
Maybe an investigate. Then.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll do an investigate. I'll take my time and try to see what this code entails. So let me roll this with my +2 on investigate, and I rolled a 13.
Okay.
Not bad.
You were gonna get something regardless, but with the success, you get something extra.
Okay.
The first thing you get is what you would have gotten regardless, just because you know how to do this stuff. Is as you look at it, you realize, oh, the reason you didn't have to open this is the door has already been hacked before you got here. And they didn't bother to undo it when they moved on. What you get from a successful check is you're able to determine what actually happened here and by whom. It appears that before you got here, this room was hacked into by the Oath Rebels. It is fairly obvious to you that the people running this place didn't do it to themselves, and it was recent, maybe like 10 to 20 minutes before you got here, right? So you're following on the heels of the people who last hacked into this room.
Makes sense. Is there any evidence that the monitoring systems have also been hacked?
It appears that they are all on and active. You can go over and examine them, but they are a separate system.
Okay. I'll do that, and I'll see if I can, just with what's available to me right now, see if I can interact with the system, bring up different cameras, stuff like that.
So, you absolutely can. This setup is made to do exactly that thing. You're sitting down at a security center to look at things. The things you're looking at are only what's on this floor, though. You can tell instantly. They don't look at things below. And you remember when you were down below, the things down there didn't see what was up here. This seems to be like a closed circuit kind of thing, where this is the monitoring room for this floor. There's a variety of cameras all over everywhere. Some of them are broken, like broken, like you just see a static screen. Like a screen with static on it, not a screen that's frozen. I realized when I said static screen, that could mean a couple of different things.
Yeah. Freeze frame.
Yeah. But there are others that still seem to be displaying active information. And you can tell because you can see all of your friends and yourself on cameras right now, and you appear to be moving in real time.
So can I figure out what camera might be beyond the door that's all twisted up?
Yeah, that won't take long, just a little bit of time, because that camera is still on. As you kind of flip through the different options of what you can look at, you find a long hallway. It has a grated floor. The room is slightly larger than the walkway. So it's imagine a big, long, rectangular room, but there's a walkway that goes down the center of it that is narrower than the room itself, almost like a little...
like a catwalk?
Like a catwalk going through the center of a slightly larger room.
Gotcha.
All along the walls, you see vents. There are vents all along the walls on both sides. And on the opposite side, the side that this room is not on, has a big glass observation rectangle that looks into that hallway.
Interesting. It looks into it, so there'd be someone on the other side observing.
Right. You get a sense that this is like a room things would have to walk through. Maybe it's some sort of exclusion hallway or some sort of decontamination hallway. You've seen enough hallways that function like this to know it serves some purpose for the facility itself. You know that it would be monitored from whatever room looks into it. But from this camera feed that you're looking at, you can see the inside of that doorway, and you can see where something with some sort of incredible power grabbed the metal and twisted it around itself. You can see the scrapes and slashes in the door that knotted it up into a pretzel. But that is not the only thing you see. That's just the basis of what the room looks like. The more shocking thing you see when you pull up this room is blood everywhere, all through the hallway, but no bodies. That room is spattered with arterial spray and long, thin lines of blood that have drip coming down from them all over the walls, going down the entire room. It's on the glass, it's on the walls, it's dripping through some of the vents you can see on the camera. But there's nothing in the room except for the blood and the damage to that door.
It looks like there's a massacre on the other side here.
I wonder if that door was locked. So whoever did that caused the carnage, and they basically did that to lock the door so that no one could escape.
No one can escape and no one can get in. Probably both were intended.
That's not terrifying at all.
I'll flip through a couple other feeds just to see if there's anything else of note in those feeds. Actually, one thing I do want to check right now is you said some of the cameras are broken and just showing static.
Yep.
Which rooms are those?
So all the rooms just have like codes.
Okay.
Like you're on camera E5, you're on camera L7, right? Like you think the people who monitor these rooms know what these rooms are, but didn't feel the need to like label them.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't help me too much without that
the only
context.
reason you're able to figure out what room is the room behind that door is because it shares the same fucked up door.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I'll go through the rest of the live feeds and see if there's any evidence of carnage there as well. Like maybe I can sort of map a path.
You're able to find one other room that has something you would consider out of the ordinary that isn't one of the broken camera rooms. You see a room that is approximately square shaped, where there is a line of blood dragged along the ground leading from one door and out another door.
Whatever's doing this seems to take the bodies with it. I don't know for what purpose.
That's a frightening thought.
Yeah, I'll say.
By the way, while you're in there, do you have access to the camera's recordings?
Good question. We'll start tapping a few keys and seeing if he can access a recordings folder or something.
I'm not entirely sure I want to see these.
There are recordings on this computer, but they're locked behind an administrator's account.
All right. Cracks his knuckles. Time to hack into the system.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe we should, like, purge the recordings, too, if you're able to do that. I don't know if that's something you can do.
Why do you want to purge it?
The less they know about what we didn't hear, the better.
Oh.
Yeah, and we probably want to purge any recordings of us.
Yes.
That said, we still have a cover story that we can fall back.
So, Astro, this is going to be a dangerous check.
Okay.
You'll still get a success on over a 10, but you need above a 20 for there not to be repercussions.
Got it. And can I jack in with my subjectivity enhancement suite?
You can, but there's I'm gonna make you a devil's deal here.
Sure.
You will get accuracy if you jack in with your subjectivity enhancement suite, but the downside will be worse if you roll between a 10 and 20.
Okay. Okay. What does accuracy do again?
It adds a d6.
Adds a d6. All right, so I have a +6 on my hack and fix, and a d6 for accuracy. Let's go for it.
All right, you hack in, you plug in. Let's do this.
And it's a dangerous check. If I were to push it, does that take it up to? Can I push
heroic?
Heroic.
It takes it up to heroic, where it's a failure if you don't get over a 20. So yes, you can push it. If you want to, but we need to see what your first roll is first.
Okay, I'm just trying to,
See what your
inventory
options will be.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. So I'll take out my cybernetic implant on my wrist. I pull out like a cord that retracts from the implant. I plug it into something, and you kind of see his eyes go blank as he's in the system. And let me roll this with accuracy. Hey, 28.
Hey,
Holy shit.
that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. That's
Nice.
a 17 plus 6 plus 5. That's great.
Damn, son. Well done.
Astro, because you rolled so good, I'm going to even let you see what the problem would have been if you failed that you avoided successfully.
Okay, I'm curious.
So you hack into the system, you were able to log into the administrator's account, and as you're going through, you remember, oh shit, these are the people who make these implants. As soon as you connected, it tried to register your implant as part of the system. It was basically like, it was like gonna auto log you in, basically. Right. It was like, oh, this is an LIT device. It's plug and play, right? It was going to send them all of your data as soon as you plugged in. And you quickly stopped it from sending anything before you went on with the rest of your hack. You get in, you open up the system, you start filing through the documents, and there are a bunch of recordings. Your success means you can review whatever recording you would like to, and you can bring it on the screen for the others to view.
All right. So I already determined from the hack door that it seemed to have happened like say 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
around
20 minutes ago.
So I'm gonna review the timestamps, and I'm gonna bring up a recording of that hallway around that time. And I'm just going to scrum through it or scan through it, and I'll pause it when there's action.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to grab a thing here real quick because I realize I put some tabs on the wrong bar. Let me bring those over to this bar so I can go full screen the other thing again. Okay. So you pull up a recording of that hallway from about 10 to 20 minutes ago. And what you are able to find is a recording of the people from Oath who appear to be traveling as like a couple different groups of squads. They look harried. They are not wearing they're wearing like the best they can get a hold of gear. And there does seem to be some overlap between the stuff they have, but it's not a uniform. Right? Maybe some of them have insignias that match up with each other's, but it's not a uniform, right? They're not they can't afford that. You see them file into this room. You can tell it takes them a while, and you're playing this for everyone, right?
Yes.
All right. So all of you see they kind of file into this room, and this is the room before there's any blood in it, before there's any damage to the doors. They're obviously shaken. They're moving slow. Some of them have their guns up and they're just aiming at the walls. They're you see one of them panically turn and point behind them into the empty space and just kind of stare at the empty space in a accusatory or paranoid way. And then eventually gets over it and keeps moving on. And as these two groups of, I would say maybe about 7 people each, so there's about 14 people that move through here. One files in, you see that in the lead, that group has a guy that has what looks like a little data slate that has a little ribbon cable hanging out the end of it. Before he comes to the door, you see him pull out the ribbon cable from something beyond the door and then leads the rest of the people in. So it does seem they have some sort of hacker that's with them who's opening things for them. As they all file into the room, the door slam shut behind them, and they all turn. They're all looking wide-eyed everywhere, and they're aiming their guns in different directions. And then nothing happens for a little while. They all just look a little nervous. The hacker at the front eventually moves to the opposite door. You see him take his ribbon cable. He cracks the little data plate next to the door. He like pulls it forward, and you see him like feeling around, trying to feel behind the panel to like find where he can plug his ribbon cable in. While he's fussing with this and the people up by him are like guarding his back, all the vents in that room activate, and like a fine but very obscuring sort of mist starts to fill the room. This is when everyone in the room starts to freak out. You start to see like this very obscuring sort of fog, like getting vented in from the surrounding vents. You can still mostly make out what's happening from the camera, but it's obviously the people inside are very disoriented. And we're back. We had a little bit of a recording hiccup, so we're actually picking up on a separate day than our first recording. But we are going to launch right back in where we left off. Welcome back, pilots.
It feels just like yesterday.
No more trees, please.
More trees. More of them.
If I am not mistaken, I believe the last thing we did before things went haywire in our recording was Todd, almost heroically, hacked into a computer system. Is that correct?
Listen, it was pretty heroic of me.
Well, you could have doubled down on that and made it a heroic roll, but you didn't. So
he was already, being heroic enough, I think.
It wasn't classified as a heroic roll though. All right. Well, you cracked into the computer. It did not steal your data, and you have pulled up a recording. As a little reminder, the audience, this would have only been 5 minutes ago, but for the four of you, you had just cracked into the computer to see what had happened in that hallway that you had gotten glimpses of from the outside. That's door is all screwed up, that is covered with blood, and we're going to see what happened in there. As the recording starts, I believe I had already stated, there are like two groups of these rebels in there, the people from Oath. You see that there is a person who has like a little handheld reader, like a little device that he's walking through with, being escorted by the first group that has like a little ribbon cable that comes off of it. He goes to the end of the hallway. You can tell the hallway has like various vents and stuff in it, and a glass window kind of looking in from the opposite side. He goes up to the far terminal, like at the end of the hallway, while being protected by that first group. The second group, like pulling up the rear. And you see that the hacker like reaches up and like tears forward the little panel, and you see him like reach behind to the wires in the wall and like find something, and he clips in his little ribbon cable, and you see him start working on something with his little reader device. And that is when all the vents in the walls start just spraying this like foggy substance into the room. You start seeing everyone in the room start to panic. All the rebels like are looking around, aiming their guns all over the place, and the fog just gets thicker and deeper until it almost obscures the entire zone. Luckily, for your case in the recording, the camera can still see the closest group, the group that is closest to the door that's all screwed up. The group that has the hacker in it that was near the far door, you're not sure what happened there. But you do see that a fun thing I forgot to mention. There's sound on this recording. You actually hear these people like talking to each other, being like, "What the fuck was that?" Like you can hear them. It's not great quality, but it's definitely a recording. You don't see this happen, but you do hear it happen. You hear a window shatter. You hear basically a loud shattering noise, and a bunch of you hear a loud oof from somebody, and then you hear a lot of people panic, going, "What was that? Tom, where's Tom?" And then gunfire. Gunfire breaks out immediately. You see on the view screen a large shadow has entered the fog. that definitely wasn't there before. Something that has a shape that's almost indescribable. It's big. Maybe it's a big robot or something. Maybe it's some sort of security drone. You're not sure. It's some large thing has entered the room with these people. The amount of shadow that it kind of reflects onto the fog is much more than any human that entered this place. You hear the sounds of scraping metal, screaming as it is getting like scraped and torn. For a second, you think you see a spark in the fog. You see all of a sudden a large spike made of metal. It almost looks like a large scythe-like, the head of a scythe, right? It almost looks like that, but what if it was an appendage, right? Basically launch out of the fog, and one of the people that you can just barely see on screen that are all huddled up in like a firing line, it just lunges out of the fog, stabs this person right through the chest, killing them instantly, while all the people around them just start lighting up the fog with their guns in the general direction from where this light came from. You hear like clings and clangs and the sounds of bullets reflecting off of metal and hitting maybe the far wall, and you're not sure what's happening in there. But the person who's been stabbed through the front, you see this long appendage retract back into the fog, like just tearing this person off of the ground back into the fog with them, like they were abducted, basically. It basically launched out, speared them through the chest, and retracted them, almost like a harpoon fisher. The other people like watch this happen, and you can see in their eyes one of them just immediately breaks. Whatever, like this horrifying thing happening, one of the rebels that's in this like near group breaks and just runs backwards towards the door they just came in from. And then you start hearing them pound against the door that must have closed behind them and won't open anymore. The gunfire slows, and because they're not hitting anything. It's just a bunch of gunfire hitting off the far walls. And you don't see the shadow anymore. And then you start to hear some yelling like, who's there? Who's still alive? Like them checking in on each other. Mm-hmm. You can see that of the group in the back here, there's only like one person gone. You don't know what happened to the group further in the fog, but you hear someone further in the fog yell back, "We got the door. Let's get out of here. Come on, go, go, go." And then in the quiet after that, you hear something with very weighty mass just cling, 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 like something taking large steps, but it's like metal on metal. But it's not stompy metal on metal. It's like, what if it was a ballerina, but made of like 20 tons, right? Yeah. Like marching through the fog. And you start to see this shape emerge out of the fog. It almost looks like is it like almost like a centaur or a spider or a scorpion or some sort of like squid thing? Its mass is almost indescribable, but it's mostly metal. There are long, languid kind of like cables that kind of undulate in the air like a squid's tentacles, made out of like thousands of tiny little joints. You can tell that like the way they undulate, it's just so many tiny little joints. They move as if they're organically smooth. But then the large legs of these things almost look like the spiked legs of a spider-like creature, as if the legs of a spider were made out of scythe blades, as the forelegs emerge out of the fog. And as they step down into the walkway, you see them cut down through the walkway as almost the walkway cannot support its weight properly. And the sharpness of the blade cuts down through it. but you can't see what the upper torso of this thing looks like because it extends almost like it's suspended on a spine. You do see like a single spiked spine sticking up from where you think the torso would be that arches off the top of whatever this edifice is until it leans down into frame, and you can see the top torso kind of suspended on this long spiked spine that looks fairly humanoid. It has very frail looking tiny arms in comparison to the rest of its body, but would be the equivalent of like a human, but maybe like a frail human. A chest that is like sunken and almost caved in, like atrophied, that is just connected by wires and tubes and protective metallic plates that come over its chest. And then as it fully bobs down into the frame, it has like a hood that comes up from its shoulders over its head. And you can see peeking out of the hood is the face of Doc Grosser.
Oh, shit.
What?
He's Dr. Robotnik.
The face like zooms towards these people who are huddling in the corner. One person like quick thinking grabs their gun and aims at the upper torso and starts firing. And then as soon as that happens, you see one of these languid undulating tentacles that's just kind of floating up around it, stiffen into a spike, lunge down through their chest, and then hook back around through their lower pelvis like it fish hooked them through their body and just tears them forward with such force they drop their gun instantly. They can't hold on to it. And this little tentacle holds it up in front of Doc Grosser's face. And you can see Doc Grosser examining it. And you can hear, just faintly, Doc Grosser's voice, who's not shouting over the din or over the fear, but almost like talking to itself, says, "Maybe I should keep some of you alive. It'll be easier to do my experiments." As you see a flash of blades as 3 of its 4 legs slash out, instantly decapitating the other 3 people who were left in this squad, as the person that they speared through like a fish hook screams as they're dragged away through the fog with Doc Grosser.
Alrighty then.
Do we see? Did he do anything to the door when we were watching this?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. He definitely did.
Okay.
Yeah. So that happened. That would have happened before he withdrew. The door was already closed and locked, and they were beating on the door. You would have seen him with the little segmented tentacles that were kind of undulating around. Before he withdrew with the body, they reach out, press into the door like incredibly powerful mechanical fingers, and they like curl in like they're trying to grasp something like a claw. And as they do, you can see the metal denting and bending under their force. And after they've dented and bent past a certain point, they just start twisting as a group, like almost like a rope, like a corded rope. They wrap around each other, and as they spin, they wrap around each other, twisting the door closed around itself.
Okay.
And then the tentacles withdraw from the door, hovering up by his torso again. And then, he withdraws through the fog. You don't see what happens to the group that was further in the fog, though.
You know, for a guy so big on augmentations, we probably should have seen this coming.
Astro's just like, holy shit. Yeah, I knew he was a little off, but I didn't know he's completely psychotic.
I'm not sure I want to be around for him to find us.
Is this recording, like, is there a way I can get it on a UMD or like a thumb drive or something like that? Can I transfer it to my terminal somehow?
Yes. Yeah. Because you beat the check, you can obtain this recording.
Okay, great.
You didn't just beat it, you crushed it.
I'll say, yeah, I would say maybe we don't want... Yeah, go ahead.
To give you just one last description of what his body looks like, he's about like 50% spider scorpion, 50% squid, and 50% vulture. Because he also has weird segmented wings that come off of the main body that come up, and you'll notice that on his chest, where his like front chest is. It's not like he wears a breastplate, but it's almost like he has his normal head on top of a robotic head. Where his torso should be, there is actually almost like a bird of prey's head instead of a torso, and then his human-like head on top of it. So the spine that's holding his upper torso aloft is almost like the neck of a large bird.
Yeah. That is thoroughly creepy.
I assume that doesn't come out too often.
I would say we have some good intel to share with Ethic.
I would say
not the intel we're looking for, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this helps us at all. I mean, we know he's a creep and he murders, but what else do we know?
Well, I mean, we were trying to figure out what's going on here at LIT, and the fact that Doc Grosser has some weird prototype weapon that he mans to go on a murdering spree. That's something, right?
Yeah, but I think if he catches us, we're going to be in a lot more trouble than... We won't be able to talk our way out of it, is what I'm saying.
No.
I'm sorry, they.
I don't know that Doc Grosser being a robot that likes to kill people is that relevant to the not terraforming of the planet.
Yeah, like...
As much as it's a big deal for us right now, I don't know that Ethic's really gonna care.
I mean, it's useful information. Never crossed them, but it's probably not relevant to Project Rebirth. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I tried. I guess you're right. Let's just be careful, obviously, going forward. Might be, if we run into Doc Grosser, it might be hard to explain our presence.
Not impossible, though, and there is another option, I think. We could let Grosser know that we're here, somehow. It validifies a little bit that we're here to help.
Also give him the opportunity to keep us from discovering anything of use while we're here.
A downside, to be sure. Yeah, it is an option, but...
I think... Well, I don't even know how we would let him know. But I think we continue in secret for now. Or in stealth. And just try to stay out of his way if we can. Thoughts? Disagreement?
God, I hope he doesn't catch us, because I'm not sure what we're going to do against that, if anything.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, we were supposed to be here, but, our usefulness versus us finding stuff out, I don't know which is more important.
Dyne's just going to look at Evelene and go, here as in the building, not here as in this secret area.
I mean, this is where the rebels went. We're doing our job by following the path.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he won't try to kill us to...
Hey.
I'm sorry. They won't try to kill us to keep it a secret.
Anyone have a really big magnet?
I mean, give me a couple hours.
You can synthesize a magnet.
I mean,
nothing?
electric magnet. You get a big piece of metal, wrap it around some wire, run a charge through the wire, electric magnet.
I don't really understand how to make jokes around you all.
We're literal minded. All right. Well, if we're going to continue forward, we have to figure out how to get through this door. That's all wrapped up.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think we checked the other room.
You did not.
There are 2 rooms. We saw the security room. Let's see what's in there. Maybe we can find something useful.
All right, so you are able to successfully get out of the security room with a recording of Doc Grosser's rampage. As you get back into the main area, you do see the other side of the door that was twisted like so much Play-Doh. It is disturbing knowing what happened on the other side of that door. But you do find the door opposite the one you went to for the security room. And based on what you saw in the security recordings, you do believe this is the door to the room that oversees what happens in the decontamination hallway.
Okay. So it's like a control room of sorts for that decontamination?
Based on what you saw on the cameras, you believe so, but you will have to get in. The door does not open for you automatically when you approach.
I mean, is there another way around?
We're just talking about the door to the other room. What do you mean by another way around?
I thought we were talking about something else.
Yeah. Is it possible to control to open the door from the security room, or is that just like a monitoring room?
That room does not have controls in it. It only had monitoring equipment.
Okay.
You would know this because you went thoroughly through all the things available to you when you opened it up.
Yeah.
That's how you were able to find the recordings.
Well, I don't know if it's that important for us to get into that room anyway, but we do face a bit of an impasse here trying to get past this door that's all twisted up. Evelene, do you have any ideas as our resident engineer? Blow it up to smithereens?
I mean, I don't have bombs. I mean,
So-
I can't make.
I will state the 2 side doors, the one that got you into the monitoring room and the door that's on the other side, are both similar doors. They're not special in any way. It's just this one's closed. The door that went into the quote-unquote decontamination hallway or the massacre hallway is a much thicker double door with it seals down the middle that has been twisted to lock over on itself. That door would be a significantly more difficult barrier to deal with.
Yeah.
Can I do a check on the door, like the normal door that it is just happens to be locked? See if like there's a way to like
Oh, sure.
break its hinges or something.
What do you want to do to this door?
Oh, what do I want to do to this door? Let me
Keep
Don't
it
get
in
We
me
your
know how you
started.
feel about doors.
yeah.
keep it in your pants.
What do you think? I charm them all the time.
I was thinking about doing some sort of creative engineering check, like saying, like, what can I do with the materials I have to get this door open?
All right, yeah, make a pilot check and tell me what skill trigger you want to use.
Exactly that. Creative engineering.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and roll it, and we'll figure out how you did it, depending on how well you roll.
Okay. No accuracy, right?
No accuracy.
15.
15. I would say with a 15, of course you succeed. But I would say the way you succeed is you find very quickly that this door is not made to be like siege proof.
Right.
The door itself is very much just like, it's locked, but it's just locked in the sense of like an office door is locked.
So we can just ram it?
It is not locked against the likes of what you have available to you, is what I will say. You're able to quickly identify what the weak points of the door are, and the creative engineering you figure out fairly quickly is with your assault hardsuit. You could probably, with your your heavy AC weapon, whatever that is.
I can just whack
Have you decided what that is?
It's a pickaxe or an axe.
Yeah, your pickaxe will easily like tear through the door, and you can probably use that as leverage to like jam it open.
I just do like a shining thing where I just kind of just crack a hole in the door and just poke my head and like, anyone there? And then
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's only locked in one place. So once you break the part of the door that has the lock that clamps it into the frame, the door just slides open, albeit a little jammedly because the door's a little dented now, but you were able to open it wide enough that people can get in and out without an issue. It'll just probably have to be replaced.
I think a lot of stuff has to get replaced on this floor.
You would think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's check out this new room.
As you come into this room, you see that it is a room that is some sort of observation room for the adjacent hallway. There is a large pane of where very dense security glass should be, but is now exploded out into the hallway adjacent. You can see from this room directly into the bloody hallway. There is a huge shattered hole in the security glass, with the glass spread out onto the broken walkways in front of you. There are a few banks of computers, some of them broken, some of them shot up, some of them sparking even now. And what appear to be some, I would say, canisters on the far wall opposite the windows.
I'll say, well, perfect. This is how we get through then, through the broken glass.
Great. Can I check out these canisters?
Yeah, absolutely. There are canisters against the far hallway that have it looks like they're actually emplaced in such a way that they're socketed into receptacles. So they're like large canisters, but you can see each canister is like socketed in as if the canisters themselves can be replaced, but there is a permanent fixture in the room that these large canisters socket into. Each one of these canisters is about the size of like a gasoline barrel, right? They're approximately, half your height, maybe a little bit more, and about the width of a person, right? And all these canisters socketed into the wall have various chemicals and combinations of things kind of etched or like imprinted along the side of them. You can see that the sockets that they are emplaced into connect those with various tubes that go up the ceiling and then to the far wall, where it seems like they connect into some sort of distribution system that connects to the adjacent room. You can also tell at the top of where each of these canisters connects, there are like little valves where they can be opened and closed to determine whether or not they are releasing what's inside of them or not. And all of them have pressure dials on them with the needles at varying levels of pressure.
And I assume the chemicals vary per container?
Yes, each canister contains a different chemical of some sort.
Wonder what this room was for.
Decontamination. Assume they have
Yes.
some sort of clean room beyond here.
Seems like a lot of chemicals just for decontamination, but what do
mean,
I know?
don't know. I don't know how decontamination works.
Evelyn turns and looks at the doctor.
Don't look at me. This is not the kind of doctor that I am.
Look, I've never been in a decontamination room that had the liquid or gas or whatever that decontaminates you in the room with you.
Well, I assume this is where it's stored and it pumps into the hallway.
Yeah, it looks like it pumps from this room through the various hose systems into the far wall, and then that far wall distributes it to the vents that go into the hallway adjacent.
I mean, is it in the direction of the room that had the gas pumped into it?
Yes, you are very easily able to see, the canisters in here pump whatever their chemical is into the adjacent decontamination hallway.
Well, there you go.
Mystery solved. We're done here.
Yep, the only thing they do in this building is decontaminate and build whatever Doc Grocer is. Yep.
Doc Grocer, clearly.
Doc Grocer's final form.
It's probably not even his final form. Maybe his second.
I would imagine their final form has like a single wing.
Well, let's crawl through this glass here and continue on.
Luckily, the
are there any
hole in
sharp
the glass is large.
Okay.
So you can get through it fairly easily, all of you. The downside is that it's at a weird angle because this room sits a little bit higher than the decontamination hallway, so it looks down into the room. To come back through this, you'll have to basically climb up the broken glass to get back in this room from the other direction. But from here, you can kind of hop down through it to get into that hallway.
Okay.
Can I break?
It's like an angled piece of glass that leans out over the hallway.
Yeah.
Can I break part of the glass just so that if we have to make a quick escape, we don't.
Yeah, if you want to break it more, you can absolutely try.
I will make an attempt just so that in case we have to get out of here fast, this won't be as much of a detriment.
Yeah. You can go ahead and make a pilot check. This will be with difficulty.
Okay. What do I even have that for? I'm sorry to say I don't have a breaking glass check, so it's going to be a D20, I think.
D20 minus a D6.
Yeah. Okay. 3, so poorly.
This adds a new level of I would say Evelene, in trying to break even bits of this already broken glass, comes across yet another example of a thing that she should be afraid of, which is with your assault hardsuit, you're having trouble breaking this security glass. And you just watched a video of Doc Grocer smashing through this glass to then assassinate an entire hallway of people. So that's concerning. You do not successfully break any more of the glass, and you thought it would be a lot easier than it is.
Well, I tried. Let's go.
All right, yeah.
So the hazard remains.
The Doc Grocer monstrosity clearly packs quite a punch.
All right, you guys are able to lower down into the decontamination hallway. There is blood all over the walls. The bodies have all been removed. All the traces of the bodies that you saw get cut down on camera are no longer in this room. But there is a streak of blood that leads out the far door away from and further into the facility from you. You can tell at the far end of the door, the control panel on the door is still like ripped slightly from the wall and pulled a little bit forward the way that the hacker from the video left it the last time you saw them. They were one of the people who was completely ensconced in fog, so you did not see what happened to them or their bodyguards during the attack.
Probably nothing good. Gonna just assume.
Well, they did say something about keeping some alive for experiments, so yeah.
Which is still probably nothing good. But yeah, they
Probably.
might. They
Oh,
might
hard
be
agree.
alive.
I was actually, I was agreeing with you there.
Yeah, no, very, very, very bad.
Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah. Quote Pet Cemetery. All right. Well, Astro takes a second now that he's in the hallway just to listen. Does he hear anything within the bowels of the building?
That is an interesting tact. I will let you go ahead and make me a pilot check.
All right. Okay. I will roll d20. 6.
There is very little difference in what you hear here than what you were hearing before. There is perhaps still a slight hiss from some sort of gas that hasn't been turned off, like still seeping through the various vents, but it must be denser than air. It just kind of like hovers around the lower vents and just kind of makes a spooky fog. Like under the walkway you're on at the very bottom of this hallway, there's like a spooky fog that's just like an inch or two off the floor that you're kind of walking over, like a little sea of fog. So you hear a little bit of that. You hear the grunt and the groan of the metal walkway you all are standing on as it was partially damaged during the fighting, and like it's not struggling to hold your weight. It's holding your weight fine, but now that there are structural problems with it, you can hear the groans as different pieces of the metal have to work harder than others to support weight now. It gives off an eerie atmosphere, but that's about what you take from it.
All right, let's move forward.
Before I forget, did we delete the recordings of like us in the other rooms and stuff? I think we talked about doing that last time, and I don't remember if we went through with doing it.
We didn't do that.
Then I will say again, like maybe we should delete the recordings of us being in rooms and like things that we said out loud around cameras.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Sure. Let me just climb up this icy precipice.
It is difficult because you are not actively in danger right now. I'm not going to make you roll a check for it, but you imagine if you had to, I don't know, escape through this hallway while in danger, it would be a difficult check to get through this partially broken glass window.
All right, he lifts himself through, not particularly gracefully, but I imagine he gets the job done there.
Yeah, you're able to go back to the recording room. Because you've already cracked the system wide open, you're able to go through and just find the recordings that are being made or have been made of your team and kind of scrub them. Unless you disable this entire terminal, it will continue recording anything from here out, though.
I think it's okay if we have recordings of us in here. We do have a cover story. We just want to delete anything that will incriminate us as snooping around or doing more than just going after the rebels.
All right.
Well, more than just that. If you're saying that out loud to me, and I assume I went with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you should make it not look like we're just deleting the recordings of where we are. Remember, otherwise that's a little bit easy to figure out.
Yeah, you're right. Good call. So do you think we should just kind of randomly pick some things to delete so doesn't have a pattern?
Can you make it look like a data failure of some kind?
Maybe, yeah. I can make it look like perhaps like a block of files within like a certain timestamp, or within a range of time rather, got deleted. Is that anything I'd have to do a check for to make it look more less deliberate and more like a system failure?
Yeah, so the thing is, you've done a hacker fix and succeeded.
Yeah.
If you're asking, can you make a check to finesse it to make it look good? What do you think that check would be? You have to state your goal and then state what you're triggering in order to achieve the goal. So I think what you're saying is your goal is to delete the files in such a way to make yourselves look good, or at least not look bad.
To disguise that we actually were the ones deleting it, and make it look like it's the result of a system failure or something.
Now, to me,
corruption.
That's not a hacker fix, because you could do the technical part without being able to finesse it well. This sounds like maybe an act unseen or unheard to go without detection, the thing you're doing.
I was going to say that, yeah. And I do have that as a skill trigger, so I will go ahead and roll it.
Is there like a way I can assist with that at all?
You can absolutely assist with that. Tell me what you're doing to assist.
I suppose giving the idea isn't enough.
Or, yeah, I mean, if you're just there being like a person to bounce ideas off of, or giving advice, or even just talking about what you would be looking for, I would allow you to add assistance in this.
Yeah. I have a history of being pretty sneaky sometimes, so I feel like that's reasonable.
I would say your trigger, read a situation, kind of indicates that you're the kind of person who knows what they're looking for in these kinds of situations, right? So the fact that you have that, I'm going to say, lets you assist here.
I'll roll that first here.
Yeah, you give him the advice you would be looking for.
I know accuracy or anything.
I would give you accuracy on this, yes, because it's a good idea.
That's good, because I rolled a 9, becomes a 13.
Okay. With a 13, you successfully assist. So Astro, you will do this with your act unseen and unheard and accuracy.
All right, got it. I rolled a 19.
A 19. With a 19, and Steve giving you an idea of what he'd be looking for, and like, oh, you go to delete something, and he's actually like, actually leave that one, because that helps, tell the story of like, oh, you were here, and then you were there, and then you were there. And if you're missing that completely, you're like, well, how did he get from there to there without going through this space? And like, even though you're at first like, oh, do we want him knowing we're going in there at all? He's like, advises you of what things to peek out of that to make it look like you're not just blanket deleting yourself from the records.
Right.
All right. Yeah, you successfully massage the data.
Nice. All right.
As we're heading back, I'll say to Astro, how proficient are you with the technology here?
With the specific to this facility, you mean?
Yeah, you have like integrated Lev technology, right?
Yeah. He holds up his subjectivity enhancement suite and observes it for a moment. I do, but there's a lot of stuff here. It seems pretty bleeding edge that I don't have any experience with. Like, sure, I can hack into it, I can improvise, but a lot of this feels like new ground to me.
Listen, I'm just saying, if worse comes to worse and we have to fight that monstrosity, if we have any way to disable it or hurt it, like a virus or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. That's worth thinking about.
Well,
I'll keep
that's
it
a
in
job
mind.
for, as far as I can tell, that's a job for you and Jessica to worry about. So I pat you on the back. Good luck. Hope we don't need it.
No pressure there. I'll ruminate on that though.
While they are on that way back, Evelyn and I are still kind of sitting in that decontamination room, right?
Yes.
I don't think I want to sit on anything in here, but yes.
I kind of look up at like the window and I'm like, Evelyn, if we have to get out of here in a hurry, that's going to be a problem.
I mean,
do you think you could jerry-rig your little grapple gun to maybe be a little more effective in helping us get out here quicker? Maybe if I could find like a spot that you would be able to like shoot and guarantee that it would latch on more effectively.
I guess, but I mean, what do you figure? Like one person would shoot through and then pass the grapple gun to the next person?
Well, I figure probably just gonna have to lose the grapple gun and just like use it as an actual rope, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that could work. I mean, I can always rebuild this. I mean, it was only a prototype anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm figuring.
Can can we identify a good place to set this up so we don't have to like figure it out?
Well, hold on, guys. This means Integrative Lev would get our technology then, the grapple gun that you made. Can we really afford them to get such high-tech equipment?
You're not here.
So, Evelyn, I would say no check required if you're willing to sacrifice that piece of kit for the remainder of the mission. You can permanently affix it in such a way that it would essentially bypass this issue going forward.
Oh, I was thinking just to figure out how we would use it, and then if the need came for it...
That would be a pilot check. If you're trying to do it under duress, it's always going to be a check.
Yeah.
Right now, you're not being chased. You are not being hunted. You are not being fought. So if you wanted to take the time to do it effectively, you're good at this. So you can just do it by spending the material you would need to do it. If you were being chased or hunted or fought while trying to do this, there would be a check with a chance for failure.
Good news. He didn't say yet.
Yet. You know what? I think we're getting to some bad levels of creepy shit here, so I will spend the grapple gun for this action.
Okay. You are able to find a point you can affix it in the overlooking adjacent room. By doing so, you are able to create a bit of a structure, like a rope, and you're able to even like tie a little handhold like halfway down on the rope, so that any of you easily could like come along here, just reach up, grab the loop, and like hoist yourself over the first bits of broken glass to get your feet on solid ground, kind of lift yourself to standing and keep going in kind of a smooth motion. You test it out a little bit between you and Dyne. You're able to make sure that it can support your weights. And yeah, this will be here if needed in the future.
Cool. Okay, great.
Yeah, I really don't want to have to think if I'm being chased by whatever they are.
All right. Well, eventually Steve and Astro get back after doctoring the footage. You see that Evelene has affixed a rope that even from this side makes it a little bit easier to get down to the area below, grabbing onto it and swinging out over the broken glass a little bit down to the normal walkway.
Huh. Nice.
I just give a thumbs up.
Takes a picture. Ender style.
What do you do from
a
here?
selfie?
All right. Well, let's. I'm not going to say the footage is doctored, because if he says that on camera, he has to go back and doctor it all over again. He'll say, "All right, let's round up whatever remaining rebels are left."
You take note of where the working camera is still on the wall. Yeah,
I wink at it.
You approach the far wall, and like I said, it's this is the door that goes deeper into the facility that was partially opened by the hacker before you.
All right. Partially open, so open enough for us to get through, though?
As in, the door is closed, but the panel on the wall was torn open a little bit, so you can see into the wiring behind it.
Okay. Is the door damaged at all from
the door is not damaged even a little bit. Perfectly normal door.
I'll look at the wires. Do I think I can sort of hot wire this to open up the door?
You believe it would only take you a few moments, no check required.
All right, so I'll do that. I'll say, give me a second here. I'll get this open.
You just have to wait a few moments here. Eventually, you find the right connector. Door opens in front of you, and what it opens to is the room you were expecting to see next based on what you saw in the security room. It is a large square room. That is some sort of liminal room that connects to a bunch of other areas. There is a large streak of blood going through the room from the room you're in now, the decontamination room. Going through that room, you can see that on the far wall from where you came in, there are two doors. So there's forward left and forward right. And then you can see there's a hallway going off to the left and a hallway going off to the right. The blood, you will note, goes forward and then to the left through the door on the left side of the opposite wall.
Okay. I say let's follow the blood trail.
I'm going to feign surprise and go, wow, what's this blood?
What? Although we should probably just check out both doors just to get ourselves oriented.
I call dibs on one of the non-blood doors.
All right, go check it out.
I'll pick the, so you said the blood was on the front left?
Yeah. There's two doors in front of you, one on the left and one on the right. The left door is where the trail of blood goes.
I'll do the front right.
To your left and right, there are hallways going to separate areas of this floor. So there's technically 4 ways you could go from here.
Oh, I gotcha.
There's a hallway that goes left, a hallway that goes right, and then on the opposite wall from you, there's 2 doors, one on the left and one on the right.
I see. Yeah, I was thinking the doors went into the hallways. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna say let's look around here. And Astro's just gonna take the hallway to the right and walk down there a little bit.
You go down the right hallway, is that what you said?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. As you advance down the hallway to the right, you can see where it kind of spindles out a little bit into a variety of other rooms. You think that these rooms appear to all be open. They don't seem to have any locks on them or anything like that. You could just explore them if you are feeling up to the task. There are no panels next to them, and it appears that all you would have to do to open them is like to press the little button on the door. There are, as you go down this hallway, it dog legs off to the left as you go down the hallway. All in all, down the hallway, there are 2 doors, and then the corner, and then 2 more doors. So there are 4 doors total going down this hallway.
Okay. I'll pick the first door I come to as I go down the hallway. I just want to see what kind of rooms this leads to.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stick with Astro as he explores, I think.
All right, watching Astro's back as he moves forward. Astro, you step forward and press the button on the door. The door makes an unlatching sound, which is odd to you because you're like, it's not like it was locked. It's not like you had to break into the door or anything, but it does seem sturdy, as if it was locked, but there was nothing you needed to do to unlock it from this side. As you press the button, you hear it unlatching from the wall, very sturdy door, and then pulls in to the wall, slides to the side. As you look in to this room, you see there is a single reclined sort of seat of some sort. It's like a reclined seat or bed of some sort. It's not completely horizontal, but is kind of like diagonally upright, with a gigantic machine on the wall behind it. You will see on the reclined piece of furniture, there are various straps and restraints built into it. And as you look around the room, you can see there is like a little terminal off to one side that has like a chair on it that seems to be like a little control device to do whatever it is this room does.
I'll go to that terminal and just see if I can turn it on and see what kind of controls.
Oh, it blinks up automatically. As soon as you go to it, you find the power for it, and it just it comes on. This is a purpose-made terminal. It does not seem to be connected to anything, you note immediately. It just seems to be like the terminal you would use to interact with one specific device. So it's not like a network terminal. It is more like this is the operational controls for whatever this room does.
Okay.
You kind of get in front of it, and it just starts spitting out various like commands that you can give and like menus you can poke through. They do seem to be menus of some sort, and it has like an area where you can select basically options. What do you do to look through this?
I just want to look through it in an exploratory way, just to figure out like what is the purpose of this machine, like based off of the kind of things I can do. Just kind of suss out like what is this? Is this a torture machine? Is this a like an implant? Implanter? Like what is this thing?
That's probably what it's called, actually.
Yeah, the implanter. It seems purpose-built to operate some sort of machine that you see is attached to the far wall behind the back of the little, like, semi-reclined seating furniture. You believe that this is... It is unlike the kind of machine that you are familiar with for doing kind of elective implants or add-ons or things like that, integrated technologies wise. It is. You have a hard time piecing together what this actually puts in because you don't know of anything that would need to be this specialized.
Yeah.
This will be a pilot check to figure out more about.
Okay, I'll take some time and I'll do an investigate if that works.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So unfortunately I rolled a 9.
All right. Do you want to push it?
Push it
would become a dangerous check.
Dangerous? Yeah, let's push it. I'm curious.
All right. If you roll less than a 20, there will be downsides.
Oh, right. That's what dangerous means.
Yes.
Actually, no. I'm not that curious.
Okay. You piece through it and you're like, okay, this is a purpose-made piece of tech that is made for installing a very specific thing that seems like it needs its own support system to do. This is like... You imagine cutting edge technology because most things can be done in like an outpatient clinic. For building an entire machine just to do a single thing like this, you imagine it must be very specialized, whatever the thing this does is. But that's all you get from it. You can't make out from the gibberish that's inside of it what it is attempting to do, only that it is very impressive.
Yeah, even that's useful to know. Like, I may not know what it does exactly, but just knowing it's like some sort of specialized machinery. So I'll tell Steve that. I'm like, I've never seen anything quite like this. My guess is that it is for some sort of specialized implant installation. Very specialized, something that can only be done here. but I really don't know what it does. It's very
I
odd.
I don't say anything, but in acknowledgement to what he's saying, I just kind of curl my upper lip looking at the table a little, like, ugh.
You will note there are no cameras in these rooms. These little rooms that you have gone into, there are no obvious monitoring things that look in here. And you would remember that from the monitoring station, you saw no rooms like this on the available feeds. Whatever happens in these rooms is not recorded.
I'll say that. I'll say there's nothing here. No cameras. No monitoring equipment in here. So I imagine whatever they do here, they want off the books.
At least officially.
Yes.
While you two are doing this, I believe Evelene was looking to get into the non-bloody streaked door.
Yep.
All right. You approach the door. This door does have a little like badge reader along the side of it.
This is problematic. Do I have the security clearance we had from earlier, or does Astro have that?
One of you has it. You have not tried it on these floors yet.
For the sake of argument, can we assume I have it, just so we can test it? Or
you could have grabbed it off of Astro, sure.
Yeah, I could say like I think I did have it. I could say, hey, I'm going down this hallway. If you want the key, here you go.
Because I think I would have seen it before Astro walked away. So I think I'll take that from you then, and I'll try it on the door.
It blinks red 3 times.
I mean, I'll just turn to Dyne. I mean, like I could try to hack it, I guess.
You can try. I would be careful, though.
I mean, with my pickaxe, not hacking.
The other
percussive maintenance.
That's what I meant by be careful.
Yeah, the literal hacking.
There's 2 schools of thought when it comes to hacking.
Yeah. I'll give it a crack.
I stand back.
All right, go ahead.
Is it the same type of door as the other door that I forced open, or is it different?
It is similar, but different.
Okay.
I will not say it is the same.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be the same, but if it's similar enough for me to sort of work it out. Okay. I don't think creative engineering applies here. I mean, I'd love if it did, but it probably doesn't.
I think you would need to be MacGyvering this, not smashing it with a pickaxe before creative engineering to work here.
Fair enough. I could do hack or fix. It is hacking.
Can do hack or fix.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. D6.
But I mean, you would have to be doing it a different way.
One of the things that Hacker Fix says is you can totally wreck a device or faulty system.
I mean, I'm sabotaging the lock, so
with a pickaxe.
Well, okay. Get rid of the pickaxe from the equation. Like, could I mess with the wiring or whatever to get the door open?
Yeah, absolutely. You could say, oh, I use the pickaxe to find a part on the wall where you've determined where you could get access, and tear off a panel of the wall to get a hold of something you can manually manipulate.
Yeah. Honestly, the pickaxe thing was just going for the pun. I'm being reasonable here, so okay. Here we go. 14.
With a 14, you do exactly that. You're able to get your pickaxe behind a panel on the wall and pry it off. You get to a bunch of wires where you can, at that point, be like, okay, I got the right spot. This does go to the door from here. If I just, run a quick little surge through it, it'll think an emergency protocol is activated and the door will open for you.
Sweet.
All right, the door slides open. No fuss, no muss. Behind, in the door, you see a room that has a couple of just like 2 desks with some terminals on them, and then a big room that has spots like for what you assume would be a bunch of large gurneys. Maybe like it has because there is one gurney in this room that's empty, like a bed gurney in the room, fitted onto a little slot on the floor that kind of like holds it in place, and clamps come up over the legs and wheels of it to hold it in place. There's nothing on it, and there's a bunch of empty pods of it. There's like 8 in here that there could be, and only one of them has an empty gurney clamped into it.
So maybe this is where they maybe this is like a storage room. So like, they bring people in on gurneys, they put them in whatever other room they want to take them, and then they put the gurneys back here, perhaps.
Maybe. I don't really want to stick around long enough to find out.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's anything useful in this room, so well, at least we know what's here.
So 2 desks with terminals on them, a bunch of slots for gurneys, 1 empty gurney.
I kind of look at it and I go, well, maybe he only captured 1 person.
Yeah, and the other ones just got brutally murdered. No big deal.
They're probably in the room with the blood.
Is there anything on the terminals? Like, I'm not going to mess with them, but is there anything just like by default on the screens?
If you walk up to the terminals and just look at what they have on them by default, they seem to be running some sort of shipping manifest. You see on them there is like a categorization, like store. There are a bunch of manifests on here that are like shipping, storage, inventory type manifests.
Anything of note on the manifest?
You would have to fuck with it because what's being displayed is like the front page. You know what I mean? Like unless you get in there and mess with it, you won't know what's there.
Yeah, let me this seems, knock on wood, harmless enough. Let's flip to the next page of the manifest. So, yeah, can I mess with the terminal?
Yeah, make a pilot check to see if you can find anything useful on here.
I don't have any skills useful here, so it'll just be a straight D20.
Straight check.
17.
Actually, 17, nice. I was going to say, actually, you can also add accuracy for your background as a worker. These are surprisingly similar to like input-output tables and manifests that you would have seen working in the mines. So you're familiar with these kinds of accounting softwares and
shipping software. Roll that D6 to see if I get over a 20. 6, so it would be a 23.
Okay, you did remarkably well. Still a success, but even better. So you look through these and you find a bunch of things that stand out to you immediately, Evelene. Firstly, you note that there are a lot of things marked for shipping as cargo that's listed human resources.
Just like
10 units of human resources, for example, is a thing that would be listed as a line item on here. And you would note, here's actually a more peculiar thing. It's being sent to a place because it actually shows like destination, like 10 unit human resources being sent to a place that is notated as 70.106. You additionally note that in this software, it notes that there are tracked movements between this 7106 and another place called Lumir, Lumir.
Huh. Is it so? Like, is the 70.106? Does that read as sort of a location or a person, or
it does? I will say, are you and Dyne both looking at this information? Are you showing this to Dyne?
Yeah, if
I
you're around.
would be there. Yeah.
Okay. Either of you could make a check to reflect what you know about Project Rebirth so far. So whichever one of you wants to make like a knowledge check about like, are you able to reference this information with what you know about the public facing version of Project Rebirth?
Could I do that with like an investigate check?
Yeah, absolutely.
I should get that. Ooh.
22.
22. Dyne, as Evelene points this out to you, that number system rings a bell with you. You note that is the number, like it at least fits the form factor of the numbering system that Project Rebirth supposedly uses to keep track of target sectors on the planet itself that are being targeted for restoration. So the entire world is basically divided into hexes, essentially, right? And then each large sector is given basically a number to denote that sector. So the way you would read this 70.106 is, you know, if you cross-reference it, that might be a sector on the planet.
Makes sense.
But you have no idea what Lumir is. Even with that success, you have not heard of anything called that. You haven't heard of like a shipping outpost called that. You haven't heard of a transport called that. You haven't heard of a base called that. That doesn't ring any bells for you.
Maybe that's a question for Epic. Maybe she knows what Lumir is.
Lumire.
Lumir, and then it just ends there.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of suspicious. I mean, anything referred to as human resources is suspicious alone.
Oh, make a fortune roll. That's just one of you roll a d20. If it's 10 or above, something else is on here.
You know what? I'll do it. Let's see what happens. Roll 1d20. I rolled a 3.
Okay. Nope, not on this terminal.
What about this terminal? The one
there are two terminals. You can roll another one. If you're trying to cross-reference the two terminals with each other to see if there's differences between them, make another roll.
I'll let you do this one, Chuck.
Okay. So straight d20. 14.
CHIMERA. This terminal, interestingly, seems to be kept up to date with the other terminal. It shows the same information, but you'll note that this terminal hasn't been accessed as recently. In fact, this terminal hasn't been accessed for a few days, and there is an unread piece of mail on the terminal.
I will read the mail.
Okay. The piece of mail is actually an internal memo. As soon as you open it, a large timer appears in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, counting down from 5 minutes. It starts as 5:00, and then it instantly goes 4:59, right? So yes, that's correct. So you know immediately as you open this piece of mail, there is some sort of 5-minute countdown as soon as you open it. There is, at the top of the mail, a large letterhead that is very official LIT letterhead. It's like LIT with like periods in between. It's the official letterhead of Lev Integrated Technologies. There's, stuff about the address of the location you are. And as you read down through it, taking, a few seconds out of that 5 minutes, you realize that what this is saying, it is a memo that is directed at all workers who are members of this facility. It is addressed in such a way that is anonymized in a way. It's not addressed to any specific person. It's like employees of LIT clinic in, entertainment module. I would have to look up what entertainment module this is, but I have it on another piece of paper. But regardless, you get the idea. It's not addressed to any specific person. But right at the top, it says, you have 5 minutes to read and understand this memo. Then this memo will delete itself and purge itself from your computer. If you do not understand the contents of this memo, please consult with one of your coworkers who has thoroughly understood this memo to get to fully understand what this memo is asking of you.
Can I immediately take a picture of it?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I assume we have like some sort of smartphone technology to just take pictures of things.
Yeah, you take a picture of it.
Beat your timer.
As you start reading further, you realize it's basically stating that you see that this memo was sent yesterday, and it is addressed to all employees of the building, and it says, you are to take the day off tomorrow. No one is to come into work. You are not to tell anyone that you have the day off. You are not to make any plans. You are not to leave your place of residence. If you are noted as being out and about in the and being noticed as not being at work, it will be you will be considered for termination. This is a top level priority notice. And then underneath it repeats, if you do not have a place of residence to be in tomorrow during your normal working hours, we can provide you a list of shelters that are willing to put you for the day. You must spend the entire 24 hours not at work and not observed by the general public. This is a quarantine level issue. Anyone who comes to work or does not heed this warning will be considered for immediate dismissal. And any clauses in your contracts that go into effect upon dismissal will be activated at the what's the word, at the decision, basically, the determination of your direct supervisor. And then at the bottom, it is there is like a digital signature on there for Doc Grosser, and it says lead scientist, researcher, head of development, Lev Integrated Technologies.
So they knew this attack was going to happen, huh?
Oh, they knew.
And I think terminated is in the literal sense, not the you're out of a job sense.
No, they probably intended to kill anyone who comes here.
Suspicious. That's... What the fuck?
Let's go back and meet up with Astro and Steve. We need to let them know now, and we rush over to them.
Yeah, let's double time. Hustle.
Evelene and Dyne, your investigation didn't take that long. You basically just looked through some manifests and examined, a memo real quick. So I would say you would get to Steve and Astro while Astro had just finished trying to figure out what the machine is and talking to Steve about it. So you go over to the direction where they are and see they're in this little offshoot room.
Hey, guys.
Howdy.
Yeah, so we were investigating a room, and apparently they knew this attack was happening. Like, Doc Grosser sent an email out to everyone telling them not to show up. And if they did show up, they would be under consideration for termination, as in like they definitely knew this attack was happening, I think.
At least 24 hours before it happened.
Have you not questioned why there's no one else in this building right now, Evelene?
Well, Astro says that actually,
been...
come to think of it, doesn't surprise me too much.
Well, I mean,
it does seem like they were prepared for this.
They could have just had a good evacuation plan, but no, like they literally knew this was going to happen.
I had a suspicion, but it's good to have that confirmed. That they knew this was coming. They must have had some sort of intelligence to prepare for this.
Yeah. Well, my question is this: did they? Was this attack planned, or was this in response that they knew the attack was happening?
You mean, do you think they had like a mole inside the rebels that pushed for this attack to happen?
Either that, or they created an opportunity that they knew the rebels were going to attack here. Like they said, like, oh yeah, we're gonna do some. They leaked some information saying like, oh, we're gonna do some maintenance that'll lower security, and it really suck if some rebels attacked today, type deal.
Hard to say. I wonder if Doc Grosser, maybe they just wanted some extra test subjects.
I mean, I wouldn't put anything past them at this point. What'd you find out?
Not too much. Just some weird technology.
Cool.
He points to the little the implant machine and says something very specialized. I don't know exactly what it does.
I mean, either way, I think the council members know more about what's going on than what we know about the rebels.
Well, how do you know Doc Grosser isn't just keeping all of this to themselves?
True. Well, I mean, okay, council members, plural. Either way, there's people who we work with who are not revealing their hand. Besides the whole Project Rebirth stuff, obviously.
I mean, yeah, we already knew that based off of our conversations with Ethic. He's trying to there are things being kept from her that she's trying to figure out. I don't know how much of whatever Doc Grosser is doing, I don't know how much of this is their own agenda or if this lines up with some greater conspiracy.
Well, let's quickly finish our investigation and try and get out of here.
Yeah, I'm getting some bad vibes.
I don't think we should dawdle.
Well, I was going to check out the other rooms down this hallway.
Okay, yeah, let's be quick about it.
Why don't you guys check the other hallway?
All right.
Okay, yeah, let's go check out that other hallway.
Follow the blood.
Well, the blood will be the last thing. I think that goes through the left door, not the left hallway.
Yeah, right? We're doing a non-blood location.
We'll save the blood for last. The best for last.
So my understanding is that Astro and Steve will check the other 3 doors down this hallway, and then Evelene and Dyne are going to check out the other hallway.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So I will let you know, Astro, as you go down the last 4 doors on this hallway, they all are set up in a very similar way. You walk up to them, you press a button, the door unclamps and opens to show you a very similar setup to the first door you opened. The only thing you find that's different by going through all 4 is that in the final room, you will note that there is some damage on the interior walls of the room.
Interesting. Let's take. Yeah, go ahead.
It is not similar to the damage that Doc Grosser has been wreaking throughout the facility. It is different in some way.
Let's do a little forensics. I'll take a closer look at the damage. What do I think it might have been caused by? Like, is it some sort of melee weapon? Is it a like burn from a laser weapon, bullet holes, that sort of thing?
So you take a look, get a little closer and see what's going on there. I would say either you or Steve can try to figure out what happened in here.
Yeah, I can do an investigate if you want us to roll.
Go for it.
All right. No accuracy or anything?
No, you don't have accuracy coming from anything here.
Okay. Still 16.
16. With a 16, you're able to see the evidence of what you are able to determine is the signs of like a bludgeoning against the walls. Something scraping or throwing things against the wall. You quickly look around the room and see that, there's this little, there's this, the chair that usually the operator would sit at to work the terminal has some like scuffs along the side of it. It looks like maybe that was like beaten against the wall or something. There are signs that something inside this room was beating at the door from the inside and that wall that faces out.
What do you think? I say, Steve.
I think it's one of their experiments got free or was left here, maybe something like that. They seem to be doing some sort of human experiments.
Yeah, that tracks.
I mean, something tried to get out, and something strong enough to dent the walls and throw the chair at it. So I assume the chair is very heavy looking.
It's a heavy chair.
In my mind's eye, it's like a metal one, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Right.
It is like it's almost built into the machine and wall and stuff. You imagine that to throw that against the wall would require some amount of physical, like a normal person could do it, but not hard enough to make the scrapes and scratches against the wall and the door.
Let me ask you this, Astro. Why would someone be doing human experiments like this in this area under the guise of terraforming a planet in the first place?
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Opportunity?
Maybe. Could it be that Doc Grosser has no interest in the terraforming project whatsoever, and they're just like skimming off the top, using the money for their mad research?
Maybe, but if that's the case, then what are they doing with the people after they're done?
Very good question. It probably is related to the, quote, terraforming project. But whatever the terraforming project's true purpose is, we have yet to ascertain.
I'm starting to think we're not going to get it on this level either.
Yeah. Lots of smoke here, but not going to find the fire quite yet.
Evelene and Dyne, as you go down the opposite hallway, the doors are similar to the doors that Astro and Steve were opening, in that they seem to have an easy open from the outside, that you can easily open them to get inside. They do delatch from the walls, so they seem to be securely socketed in place. As you open the first one, you see that while it is similar to the other hallway where Astro and Steve are investigating, the machinery in this room is different in some way. It is still like a the setup for where, you know, a subject would sit is very similar, but the machine against the back wall is no longer like a single machine that's like behind the back of the behind the back of the head of where the seat would be. It is actually a machine that is coming up from the ground that is behind where the back of the machine is. So it's like under the chair. And you'll notice that the little chair seating device has like a cutout, like a big hole in the center of it, in the center where this little like arm / device like raises up from the ground to seemingly interact with where the hole is in the seat.
Fantastic.
I don't want to be funny, but my first impression was this was a toilet.
Oh, it's not in the seat bit; it's in the back bit. You imagine if you were seated in this seat, the hole would be right where the middle of your spine is.
Okay. I thought it was like a traditional toilet seat. I was like, I don't want to understand what the implications of this is, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, no, it's reclined backwards, and the hole is right where the middle of your spine would be if you were laying on the device.
So definitely for augmentations, I'm guessing.
Or experimentations on augmentations.
True.
Similarly to what Astro saw before, there is a single terminal in the room with a heavy seat kind of like right next to it. That seems to be where an operator would sit to activate whatever this machine does.
Yeah, I don't like this room. Is there anything on the terminal other than just like how to work the machinery?
It seems purpose-made for working the machinery. If you wanted to spend some time on it, you could try and figure out what the machine does, but it would be a difficult check.
Okay. I'm not confident in my ability to figure this out. How do you feel, Dyne?
It's probably a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but let's see. I can throw an investigate at it.
It is definitely not engineering, weapon system, and reactors.
No.
I mean, it would be very funny if this was a weapon system or a reactor, and you're like, "Oh, that's weird." But yeah, if you wanna sit down at it and try to like pour through the systems to see what it does, absolutely.
Yeah.
Should he have accuracy for medical background?
Sure. You are totally right. I will give you accuracy because you are a doctor.
Good.
22 plus 1.
23. That's 23. Great.
Good call out, though, Jay.
Dyne, you sit down at this machine, and as you're looking through it and seeing the kinds of systems that it interacts with and the kinds of things it does, and then you look at the seat and where it's placed, and you start thinking about a person and how they would sit in it, and then you start to put the pieces together. This seems to be a device that is meant for changing how someone's nerves connect their lungs with their spinal cord.
Dyne regrets this decision and decides he no longer wants to know what this machine does, but informs Evelene anyway.
I was better off not knowing this.
It appears that the procedures in this machine are meant to go in through someone's back and basically add a bunch of fixtures along their spine that, one, augment their lungs, like literally augment their lungs to do something different than normal. What exactly, you can't actually figure out from this terminal. You can only see what it attaches, like how it attaches something, but not what it attaches. So you have evidence of the procedure being done, but not what the implant that's installed actually does. You would need either an example of that implant or a machine that has information on that implant to get that information. But it installs something into their spinal cord that connects with their lungs and then runs cords up their spinal cord into their brain to connect with something up there, but you're not sure what that does.
It's getting real cyberpunky.
Yeah. What would you even do? Like the ability to breathe underwater, or like something about your breathing ability? Yeah, I'm just spitting ideas out at this point.
Maybe surviving on an unterraformed planet, you know?
True.
But that is what you were able to get from this, Dyne.
I mean,
fantastic.
Yeah.
You quickly go down the rest of the hallway. The other doors all have machines the same as the one that was in the first room. It appears this whole hallway just has a set of 4 machines that do whatever this procedure is.
Cool. Let's hope we don't end up on the chairs.
Yeah.
All right, the 4 of you can meet back up in the center once you're completed and happy with what you've learned.
I wouldn't say happy.
Satisfied that we learned something, perhaps, but not happy.
Yeah. I hate this place.
I'm happy. Woohoo!
Good for you. Good for you, Astro.
All right, well, let's it's time to follow the trail of blood, I think.
Do the 2 groups tell each other what they've learned?
I was just going to ask that.
I would share my misery.
Oh, yeah. Misery likes company.
Yes. And so, like, upon hearing this, let's say, well, it sounds like, our side does some sort of implant that I couldn't really figure out what it does. And your side does implants a spine or something?
Spine and lung modifications.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of mods probably involve the spine if you think about it. Or at least the nerves.
Okay, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions here, but with human experiments and the possibility of someone breathing or existing on areas where oxygen is not abundant or maybe even exists at all, is it possible that they're working on making some sort of augmented soldier or something?
Yeah, it's what I was just going to say, like a super soldier. Something to gain an edge.
I guess.
Is there like... and this question for you, Bob, is there like any kind of like outlaws or reasons that this wouldn't be conducted like out in the open? Or do I feel like it would be sufficient that Dot Grosser would want to use the guise of terraforming a planet so that people didn't find out about this for some reason?
What I would say is if you're just trying to rack through your head on reasons why this wouldn't be done in the open, is all augmentation is voluntary only, period. Just straight period. That's one actual law that's on the books, is that any human augmentation needs to be done with consent from the person being augmented. Even if you're a prisoner or if you're like a war conscript, you
so
cannot.
That's like taboo.
There is a taboo against modifying someone against their will. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you do know that LIT has this reputation for being where everyone goes to get the good stuff, right? But no one asks too many questions on how they develop it or what their trials look like. They have gone through great lengths in their marketing to only show shiny finished projects, and you've heard very little to the effect of like, oh, what was a first generation one of these like? You know, like there are a lot of people out there who have augmented legs, you know, who just have them as replacements or improvements or whatever the case may be. No one, you know, has an example of like an early model one of those. It's almost like LIT doesn't have prototypes, which logically, you know, can't be the case, but you can't think of a single example of one.
I'll mention that offhandedly, just as like my train of thought to the group. There's still something that we're missing.
Yeah.
Like you don't start a project as big as they do, working with other companies just to get your own prototypes worked out. There's something else.
One other thing I wanted to ask, I don't think I heard this, but did Evelene share the information about the shipment manifests that she read through?
Oh, I would have. I guess, yeah, I never actually said I did, but there's no reason for me to withhold that.
Remind me what you found out again.
So we found a bunch of shipping manifests that were very explicitly shipping something called human resources from a sector on the planet to a location called Lumiere.
So I will correct one thing, Evelene.
Oh, sorry.
You found a manifest of human resources being sent to 7106.
Oh.
And then you also found records of tracked movements between 7106 and another place called Lumiere. What was in those shipments were all listed as like raw materials or completed projects, but the first thing you found were shipments of a thing called human resources being shipped from here to 7106.
Okay. Thank you for that correction.
So I'm assuming these human resources are of the augmented type rather than the type that teaches you how to not discriminate in the workplace.
I'm starting to think those canisters with people in them are not unaugmented. Sounds like the shipments themselves.
Yeah, they're kept preserved in storage, ready to get shipped. It was in a big hangar room, so I can see them being loaded into some sort of vehicle or whatever to get shipped out.
Yeah, they're probably final products.
If we need to, by the way, not saying we should, mind you, but kind of wonder what would happen if those all opened up or something. LIT might have a bit of a pickle on their hand.
We open up the canisters with humans in them, you mean?
You saw what happened in that room, didn't you? Assume that everyone in those canisters is as strong as whoever that one was.
You mean Doc Grosser?
No, the room we were in where it looked like somebody had beaten on the walls and thrown a metal chair at it and everything.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, good point.
And I'm guessing a lot of these people were either innocent bystanders or very likely rebels. And if they retain any of their memories or individuality, they're probably not going to be too happy.
Remind me who has an Omni Hook.
I do.
Just Astro?
Yes. Or
Astro.
I don't know if anyone else does, but I know I do.
I don't think I do, yeah.
Okay. So you're the one who gets the direct message then. Astro, Jessica's been monitoring you the whole time. And has just been updating your map as you go into adjacent rooms and stuff so you guys don't get lost, and keeping track of what you guys have been, talking about while people are in your presence, basically. She's kind of like your eyes and ears, Astro. She's kind of been just feeding you information, but you hear a beep beep in your ear to note that she's like coming in to give you a message. And you hear Jessica goes, Astro, just thought you should know this. I ran that information that Evelene found. 7106 is definitely a designation for a sector on the planet. I ran it past what information we have through EFIC on Project Rebirth officially. That is not a sector that is slated to be renovated anytime soon. there are 3 categories: sectors that are under active progress, sites that are being investigated to be the next sites to work on, and then uncategorized. 7106 is an uncategorized zone.
Interesting. Do these sites have any notes along with them? Like reasons that they might be...
Only the sites that are actively under construction or under investigation have any notes. For example, I can see that there's a 4102 here that is under active construction that states, they're working on balancing nitrogen in the atmosphere, and they've created... it's a bunch of... I'm going to be honest with you, it's a bunch of bitsy science nonsense. It would take me a few hours to look through all of this to see if there's anything important for even one of these sectors. But for the uncategorized sectors, it says pending investigation.
That is very interesting. Thank you, Jessica.
Of course. Also, just to let you know, I have been watching the various rooms that you have gone through already, and based on the layout of the facility, I believe the room that you have not gone through yet probably leads to a way further up in the facility, just based on the structure of the building.
The one that has all the blood in it, probably.
If there is blood there, that is good to know.
All right, well, we know our way forward then.
And then beep beep, saying she's gone back on silent, basically.
Okay. I'll let the others know if they didn't hear it. I don't know if Omni Hook just like...
it would have been directly to you. She's like the voice in your ear. You can patch other people into her, but it has to be an active thing.
I'll let them know about the sector we found that is uncategorized.
Well, is that enough information for us to leave and investigate that, or are we feeling like we need to go further into hell?
That might be enough. I have a feeling we may end up going to this very sector.
I think that's a given.
Yeah, I think so.
And I guess if you think about it, the deeper we go, the more likely we're going to run into Doc Grocer, who may not be cool with us knowing as much as we know.
Yeah,
I would just bet a lot of money on that being true. Yes.
Yeah.
At this point, our cover story looks less and less likely, as it seems like the rebels here are no longer a threat or entirely have been dealt with. Speaking of, have I heard anything?
As you're having this conversation, you hear gunfire coming from the door with the blood behind it.
Damn it! Damn it! We think we have to investigate.
Not necessarily.
No, but we probably should.
Yeah.
I suppose. I
mean, they know we were here. If we don't show up at some point as we aren't doing the mission that we came here to do, then it's more incriminating. We should keep pushing forward, especially if we hear fighting.
Have if I check in on that communication channel for the rebels that I have, is there anything being said?
As you log into it, you hear 3 voices talking back and forth to each other. One of them is like, "Do you see them over that way?" No, I don't know how we got cut off from each other. The door just closed on its own. And then you hear a third voice go, I hear something. I'm behind something right now. I need to go quiet. I hear something out in the main room. We'll be right there as soon as we can. Just hold on.
Okay. Yep, they're dealing with something. I would bet Doc Grocer. Let's proceed carefully. And I'll walk up to the door we haven't opened yet.
All right. This door has a blood trail going right to the base of the door, and then probably going under it, you would assume. This door is another one that requires some sort of identification to open.
Okay, so let me take the panel apart and see if I can hotwire it open.
All right. Make a hack or fix. And then I will need you to make that as a dangerous check.
Okay. We'll do hack or fix. 16.
16. So that is a dangerous check. So you do what you wanted to do. You pull open the back of the pad device. You are able to hook into it. You're able to hotwire the door to open it up, and it is what you expected. It is a door that goes to a little access hallway. There is weirdly almost like an arch in the center of the room. Like, it's a room hallway that goes to a stairwell. But in the middle of the hallway, there's a metal arch in the hallway, about halfway down the hallway.
Okay. It was a dangerous roll, but I guess I don't know what the dangerous effect was.
You're correct. You rolled between a 10 or a 20 on a dangerous check.
Okay. All right. Weapons out. Be prepared to shoot any rebels lying in ambush. And he takes out his shotgun, aims it down the hallway.
All right. So do you advance into the hallway?
I do. Start walking towards that metal arch.
And the other three of you follow? Or do you abandon Astro to his fate?
I was going to ask, is that like an option?
Astro's got a gun. He's fine.
Astro turns invisible, runs down the hallway. The rest of us just immediately book it the other way, up the grappling hook.
Nope.
I'll follow.
As the four of you go down the hallway ahead, you head down the hallway, approaching the stairwell. You hear gunfire again, just a burst of it, and then you hear a smashing noise coming from above, from up the hallway. As you slow your pace to a crawl a little bit, as you get closer to the staircase, you pass by the metal arch in the center of the hallway. And Astro, since you're leading in this case, as you pass through the arch in this hallway, you note as you pass through it, a little light blinks on the inside of the arch. And then the door you all came through slams shut and locks.
Great.
And that's where we'll end the recording. Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, boy.
Great idea.
I hate this.
Sure, it's fine.
Yeah.
Got your pickaxe?
Yeah.
We're friends, right?
Yeah, but no grappling hook.
Well, as you all figure out what is going on here or what you want to do, we'll come back to that in our next session. In the meantime, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.